The great hall of the Galactic Union was filled with light and noise. Beings from many worlds had gathered to celebrate the winter festival that humans called Christmas. Tall aliens with glowing skin stood beside armored warriors from distant planets. Dragonkind nobles watched from high platforms, their golden eyes calm and cold. This was a place of power, pride, and judgment. Humans stood at the edge of the hall. They were not important here. Most alien races saw humans as weak. Too small, too soft, no magic, no natural armor. Humans were known only for trade, service, and small work. No one expected anything special from them tonight. Eli stood quietly among the humans. He was not a soldier. He was not a diplomat. He was a craftsman. His hands were rough, marked by years of work. In his hands he held a small wooden box. Inside it was a Christmas ornament he had made himself. He had worked on it for many nights, carving the shape carefully, sanding it smooth, and painting it with gentle colors. It was simple. Too simple for this hall. Around him, aliens displayed their gifts. Crystals that floated in the air, living metal that moved like water, jewels that held ancient magic. Each gift shone brighter than the last. Then someone noticed Eli. A tall alien with silver skin laughed loudly. "That is a gift?" it said, pointing at the wooden box. Others turned to look. Whispers spread through the hall. "It looks like a child's toy. Humans celebrate with this? So poor, so weak." Laughter followed. Eli felt the heat rise in his chest, but he did not move. He did not speak. He only held the box tighter. He knew they would not understand. "Not yet," a human beside him whispered. "You didn't have to bring that." Eli shook his head slowly. "I wanted to," he said. The laughter grew louder. One alien picked up a golden ornament and held it high. "This is a real gift," it said proudly. "Power, beauty, worth." Someone else looked at Eli again and laughed. "Why do humans even try?" Eli lowered his eyes, but he did not walk away. The festival continued. Music played. Drinks flowed. Gifts were praised. Humans were ignored. Then the air changed. The lights dimmed. The sound in the hall slowly faded, as if the walls themselves demanded silence. Even the proudest aliens stopped talking. Guards in black armor moved to attention, their spears striking the floor in perfect order. The dragon royalty had arrived. Eli felt it before he saw it. A deep pressure filled the room, heavy and calm. Power without noise. Fire without flame. The dragon princess stepped into the hall. She was tall, her form elegant and strong. Her scales shone like polished stone, deep red with lines of gold. Her eyes moved slowly across the room, seeing everything, missing nothing. Everyone bowed, even kings. She walked past the glowing crystals, past the living metal, past the jewels that hummed with magic. Her face showed no interest. Eli watched quietly. The princess stopped. Her eyes rested on the human section. More laughter tried to rise but died instantly. Her gaze moved, and then stopped again, on the small wooden box in Eli's hands. The hall went silent. Eli felt his breath catch. He did not know why she was looking at him. His gift did not glow. It did not move. It held no magic that scanners could detect. It was just wood. The princess stepped closer. Every step echoed like thunder. Aliens shifted nervously. Some looked confused, others afraid. Why would dragon royalty look at a human gift? Eli felt thousands of eyes on him. His hands trembled, but he did not hide the box. The dragon princess stood before him. She looked down at the ornament through the open lid. Her eyes softened, just slightly. The silence stretched. Then she spoke. Her voice was calm, deep and clear. "Who made this?" The question hung in the air like a blade. Eli swallowed, slowly. He stepped forward. "I did," he said, and in that moment, no one laughed. The hall did not move. No one spoke. The dragon princess stood still, her eyes fixed on the small wooden ornament resting in Eli's hands. Her question still hung in the air, heavy and sharp. Who made this? Eli felt his heart beat loudly in his chest. He stepped forward again, careful and slow, as if one wrong move could break the moment. I did, he repeated. A wave of whispers rushed through the hall. A human? He made it himself? That thing? Some aliens looked shocked. Others looked amused again, as if the tension had cracked just enough for mockery to return. A tall noble with blue skin let out a short laugh. Princess, he said politely, bowing his head. It is only a human trinket. There are far greater gifts here. Several others nodded in agreement. Double quotes, yes, your highness. It has no power. No value. Eli said nothing. He kept. His eyes lowered, but his grip on the box was steady. He had expected this. Humans were always expected to explain themselves, to defend their worth. The princess turned her gaze slowly toward the speaking alien. The laughter stopped. Her eyes were calm, but something cold moved behind them. You speak of value, she said. Yet you have not asked what it means. The blue-skinned noble hesitated. Meaning? He repeated. Yes, the princess said. Meaning. She looked back at Eli. Human, she said. Tell me why you made this. Every eye returned. To him. Eli took a slow breath. His voice was quiet, but clear. I made it for winter, he said. For warmth. For home. Some aliens frowned. That is not an answer. One muttered. Eli continued. Where I come from, he said. Winter is cold, dark. People feel alone, so we make things. Not because they are strong, but because they remind us we belong somewhere. The hall listened, though many did not understand. He opened the box fully and lifted the ornament. It was shaped like a small star, carved from plain wood. Thin lines ran across it, imperfect but careful. My father taught me how to carve, Eli said. He said, if you make something with care, it carries that care forward. A low laugh echoed from the side. That is sentiment, an alien said. Not power. The princess did not look away from the ornament. Sentiment, she repeated softly. Her fingers moved slightly, but she did not touch it yet. Eli lowered his hand. I know it is simple, he said. I know it cannot compare to magic or gold, but it is honest. That is why I brought it. For a moment, nothing happened. Then someone scoffed. So humans bring feelings to a royal exchange now? No wonder they remain weak. Quiet laughter spread again, though softer this time. Eli felt it like a weight pressing down on him. He had said what he needed to say. Whatever happened next was out of his hands. The dragon princess straightened. The room froze again. You laugh, she said, her voice calm but sharp, because you do not recognize what you lost. Lost? Several nobles shifted uneasily. My people, she continued, once made things like this. Before power ruled us, before fire replaced warmth. She finally reached out. Her clawed fingers hovered above. The ornament, the entire hall held its breath. Even the guards did not move. Eli's heart raced. The princess paused, as if listening to something only she could hear. Then she touched it. The ornament did not glow. No. Magic burst forth, but the princess's eyes widened, just slightly. She closed her fingers around it. The reaction was immediate. A ripple of energy moved through the hall, not force. Not magic, but presence. Old, deep. Aliens gasped. That is impossible. Someone whispered. The princess lifted the ornament closer, studying the lines, the marks, the small flaws. These hands were not guided by power, she said slowly. They were guided by care. She turned to face the crowd. You dismissed this, she said, holding the ornament up, because you believed strength must be loud. Her gaze sharpened. You were wrong. The hall fell into complete silence. Eli stood frozen, unsure if he was dreaming. The princess looked back at him. "Human," she said. "You will stay." Murmurs exploded across the room. "Stay? For what reason? What is she planning?" The princess did not answer them. She only added one final sentence. "This gift has not finished its journey." And in that moment, everyone understood something had begun. The words of the dragon princess echoed through the great hall. This gift has not finished its journey. No one dared to speak. Aliens who once laughed now stood stiff and unsure. The nobles who had shown pride moments ago avoided each other's eyes. Even the guards looked uneasy, gripping their weapons as if the air itself had changed. Eli remained where he was. He did not understand what was happening. But he knew one thing. This moment no longer belonged to him alone. The dragon princess turned and walked toward the center of the hall. Her steps were slow, controlled, and heavy with meaning. The ornament rested in her open palm, small and plain against her powerful form. "Bring the gifts forward," she commanded. One by one, servants and nobles stepped ahead. Floating crystals glowed brighter. Rare metals shifted into complex shapes. Ancient artifacts pulsed with visible magic. Each item was placed on long display tables, made of black stone. The hall sparkled with power. The princess looked at them all. Her expression did not change. "These are impressive," she said. "They show wealth, skill, strength." Several nobles straightened proudly. Then she lifted the wooden ornament. "This," she continued, "shows something else." She walked slowly along the tables, comparing the human ornament to every shining object. "This crystal was grown over centuries," she said, gesturing to one gift. "But it was grown by machines." She moved to another. "This metal was shaped by fire and force." Then she stopped. "This," she said, holding up the ornament, "again, was shaped by hands." The room felt tighter, smaller. Eli watched, barely breathing. The princess turned toward the crowd. "How many of you remember who shaped your first gift?" she asked. No one answered. "How many of you remember why you celebrate?" she asked. Again. Silence. She lowered the ornament slightly. "My people once made gifts like this," she said. "Before our empire, before conquest, before fear." Her voice did not shake, but something deep moved beneath it. "We lost that time," she said. "And with it, we lost something we did not know how to replace." Some of the older nobles shifted uncomfortably. The princess stopped in front of Eli. "You," she said. "Why did you bring this gift here?" Eli swallowed. "Because Christmas is about sharing," he said. "Even when no one is listening." A few aliens scoffed quietly, but stopped when her gaze flicked toward them. The princess studied Eli's face, not his species, not his rank. His face. "Do you expect reward?" she asked. "No," Eli said quickly. "I didn't think anyone would even notice." The truth in his voice was clear. The princess nodded once. Then she did something no one expected. She removed the royal chain from her neck. A sharp breath moved through the hall. Dragon royalty never removed their insignia in public. Slowly, carefully, she attached the wooden ornament to the chain. The room froze. Eli's heart stopped. She lifted the chain and placed it around her neck. The ornament rested against her scales. For a heartbeat, nothing happened. Then the air shifted. Not with magic, with recognition. Ancient markings along the hall walls faintly glowed, reacting not to power but to intent. Old symbols, long forgotten, awakened as if remembering something they had been waiting for. Gasps filled the hall. "That symbol hasn't reacted in centuries. How is that possible? It has no magic." The princess stood tall. "I choose this," she said clearly. "Not because it is strong, but because it is true." The nobles erupted into quiet chaos. "This breaks tradition. A human object cannot be royal. She cannot mean this." The princess raised her hand. Silence returned instantly. "Tradition," she said. is meant to guide, not blind. She turned toward the human delegation. For generations, she continued, you have been dismissed, ignored, mocked. Her eyes swept across the hall. Today that ends. Aleph felt his knees weaken. The princess looked directly at him. Human, she said, your gift will be displayed in the royal archive. Shock rippled through the room. That place is sacred. No outsider gift has ever entered. She was not finished, and you, she added, will accompany it. The hall exploded in whispers. Eli stared, unable to speak. The princess leaned closer, her voice low, meant only for him. You remind us of who we were, she said. And that makes you dangerous and valuable. She straightened and faced the crowd once more. This festival is no longer just a celebration, she announced. It is a beginning. The music did not return. The laughter did not return, because everyone now understood humanity had been noticed, and nothing would be the same again. The moment the dragon princess finished speaking, the hall changed. The air felt heavier. Not with magic, but with uncertainty. Whispers spread like fire across dry ground. Nobles leaned close to one another. Some looked angry, others afraid. A few stared openly at Eli, as if trying to understand how a simple human had reached this. Eli stood frozen. He had not planned this. He had not wanted attention. Yet now, the eyes of the galaxy were on him. The princess remained calm. The wooden ornament rested against her chest, unmoving. Quiet, yet more powerful than any glowing artifact in the hall. A tall noble from the northern system stepped forward. His armor shimmered with embedded crystals. This is reckless, he said, forcing his voice to stay polite. Human influence has no place in royal tradition. Several others nodded quickly. Yes. This undermines balance. They will grow arrogant. The princess turned her head slightly. Arrogant? She asked. The noble stiffened but continued. Humans lack discipline. They feel too much. They act without foresight. Eli lowered his eyes. He had heard these words before. The princess took one slow step forward. My people once said the same about themselves, she replied. The noble hesitated. Feeling, she continued, is not weakness. It is direction. She raised her hand, pointing gently at the ornament. This was not created to impress, she said. It was created to connect. The noble clenched his fists. Connection does not win wars, he said. The hall went quiet. Again, the princess's eyes sharpened. No, she said. But it decides what is worth fighting for. A murmur of unease spread. Some nobles exchanged worried glances. Others stepped back, as if distance could protect them from the shift happening. In the room, Eli felt something change inside him. Not pride, responsibility. A sharp voice cut through the silence. If humans are to be honored, said a female noble from a high platform, then what stops them from demanding more? The princess turned toward her, demanding? She asked. Calmly, yes, the noble said. Today, an ornament. Tomorrow, seats of power. The princess did not answer right away. She looked across the hall, at the guards, the elders, the younger nobles watching closely. Then she spoke. Humans did not demand this, she said. They offered it. She turned toward Eli again. Did you ask for this? She asked him. Eli lifted his head. No, he said. I only brought a gift. The princess nodded. That, she said, is the difference. Some nobles looked uncomfortable. The princess faced the crowd again. You fear humans because you cannot control them, she said. You cannot predict what they will value. Her gaze hardened, and that frightens you. A wave of tension moved through the hall. One of the older dragon elders stepped forward slowly. Princess, he said carefully, change of this scale invites chaos. The princess bowed her head slightly, showing respect. Yes, she said, it does. She lifted her head again. But stagnation invites decay. The elder said nothing more. The princess turned back toward the humans. For centuries, she said, you have been judged by what you lack. Her voice grew stronger. Today, you are judged by what you give. The human delegation stood straighter, though fear still lived in their eyes. Then something unexpected happened. A young alien stepped forward. His species was small, his skin pale, his rank low. I like the ornament, he said quietly. The hall turned toward him in shock. It reminded me of home, he continued. Before I left my world. Silence followed. Another voice joined. And me, said a merchant from the outer systems. It feels warm. More murmurs followed. The nobles grew uneasy. The princess allowed a small smile. See, it spreads. The powerful were no longer in control of the narrative. Princess raised her hand. This gathering will continue, she announced. But understand, this human culture will no longer be mocked in my presence. Her gaze was sharp. Those who cannot accept this may leave. No one moved, because leaving meant defiance. Eli felt the weight of the moment settle. He realized. Then this was not just about a gift. It was about a door opening, and once open, it could never be closed again. The princess looked down at the ornament once more. This, she said softly, was never small. Eli exhaled slowly. For the first time he understood. They were no longer laughing. They were afraid. The festival did not end, but it was no longer a celebration. The great hall of the Galactic Union felt like a council chamber now. Music stayed silent. Servants moved carefully. Every word spoken carried weight. Eli stood among the humans, his mind racing. Moments ago, he had been invisible. Now his simple gift rested against the chest of a dragon princess, and the eyes of the galaxy watched every breath he took. The princess returned to her elevated platform, the ornament still hanging from her royal chain. She sat, but her posture remained alert, her presence filling the hall. Let this gathering change, she said, or let it reveal who refuses to. Her words settled deep. The nobles shifted again, uncomfortable. They were used to power flowing one way. Tonight it had turned. A senior delegate from the inner world stepped forward. His robes were heavy with symbols of rank. Princess, he said, if humans are to be recognized, then terms must be defined. The princess tilted her head slightly. Defined by whom? She asked. The delegate paused. By tradition, he said carefully. Tradition, the princess replied, has already been challenged. She looked toward the humans. Human. Representative, she said. Step forward. Aelith froze. Several humans looked at him. Some looked away, afraid. Others nodded slowly. Eli stepped forward, his legs unsteady but his back straight. I am not a leader, he said quickly. I just make things. The princess studied him. That, she said, may be exactly why you are needed. Murmurs spread again. The delegate frowned. A craftsman cannot speak for a species. The princess's gaze sharpened. No, she said. But he can remind us what a species stands for. She turned back to Eli. Tell them, she said. Why do humans create? Eli took a breath. We create because we break, he said. Things don't last for us, so we make memories. We fix, we try again. Some aliens listened closely. We don't live forever, Eli continued. So we make moments that matter. The hall was quiet. A merchant from the outer systems nodded slowly. That sounds familiar, he said. A younger noble whispered. It makes sense. The older nobles looked uneasy. The princess rose from her seat. Humanity, she said, has survived without claws, fire, or ancient magic. She stepped down from the platform. They survive by adapting, she continued. By caring. By rebuilding. She stopped beside Eli. These are not minor traits, she said. They are rare. The delegate clenched his jaw. If humans are elevated, he said, then others will demand the same. The princess turned to him calmly. Then let them bring something worth elevating. Silence followed. She raised her voice slightly. Effective immediately. She announced, humans will be granted cultural envoy status. Gasps filled the hall. That is unheard of. They have no empire, no fleets. The princess did not flinch. They have something older than fleets, she said. They have purpose. She looked at Eli again. Your ornament will remain with me, she said. Not as decoration, but as reminder. Eli nodded, overwhelmed. But this is not the end, she added. She turned back to the crowd. Humanity will be tested, she said. As all recognized cultures are. Fear and excitement mixed across the hall. The test, she continued, will not be of strength. She paused. It will be of choice. The nobles leaned forward. What choice? Someone asked. The princess's eyes glowed faintly. How humans act, she said, when they finally have a voice. The hall buzzed with quiet tension. Eli felt the weight of that future pressed down on him. He looked at the ornament once more. It was still simple, still small, but now it carried the future of his people. The princess gave one final command. This gathering stands adjourned, she said. Prepare for change. As the hall slowly emptied, Eli remained standing. He realized something then. Humanity had not been lifted. They had been invited, and that invitation came with consequences. Asterisk. The days after the festival were quiet. Too quiet. News of the Dragon Princess's decision spread across the galaxy faster than any fleet. Some worlds reacted with curiosity, others with anger, a few with fear. Humans felt all of it. Eli was moved to a guest chamber within the royal district. The room was large, cold, and carved from dark stone. Guards stood outside at all times, not to protect him, but to watch him. He understood that. Recognition came with risk. The princess had spoken of a test. No one yet knew what it would be, until the summons arrived. Eli was escorted through long halls into a smaller chamber. This room held no gold, no banners, no signs of power. Only a round table and several seats. The princess waited there. She was alone. You asked for me, Eli said softly. Yes, she replied. Sit. He did. She studied him in silence. Many in the council want you removed, she said plainly. Some want you silenced, Eli nodded. I expected that. Why? She asked. Because change scares those who benefit from things staying the same. Eli said. The princess watched him closely. You understand more than you claim, she said. She leaned forward slightly. The test I spoke of, she continued, will begin soon. Eli felt his chest tighten. What is it? He asked. The princess did not answer right away. There's a border world, she said. Poor. Forgotten. Its people suffer every winter. Eli listened. Resources have been denied to them, she continued. Not because they lack value, but because helping them brings no profit. Eli's jaw tightened. The council wants me to ignore them, she said. They say it is not our responsibility. She looked directly at him. What would humans do? Eli did not answer immediately. He thought of cold nights, of shared meals, of broken things repaired again and again. We would help, he said. Even if it costs us. The princess nodded slowly. That is the test, she said. She stood. Humanity will be given a single transport ship, she said. Limited supplies, no protection. Eli's eyes widened. You want us to choose? He asked. Yes, she replied. If humans act only when safe, then they are no different from the rest. Silence filled the room. If you fail, she added, the council will declare your culture unworthy. Eli swallowed. And if we succeed? The princess paused. Then nothing will ever be the same again. Eli returned to the human delegation with the news. Fear spread quickly. We can't risk this. They're setting us up to fail. One ship isn't enough. Eli listened to every voice. Then he spoke. We've always helped with less, he said. That's who we are. Some looked down. Others nodded slowly. A vote was taken. Unanimous. The ship launched at dawn. Eli stood aboard with engineers, medics, teachers, no soldiers. The journey was long and tense. Pirate signals flickered on distant scanners. Storms rattled the hull. Supplies ran low. They did not turn back. When they arrived, the world was worse than expected. Shelters were broken. Children shivered. Food was scarce. The humans got to work. They repaired heaters, shared rations, taught skills. Listen. They stayed longer than planned. The ship sent no distress call. Back at the council, anger grew. They are wasting resources. They will fail. The princess waited. Days passed. Then a signal arrived, not a request. Message. The border world thanked humanity. They spoke of warmth, of hope, of hands that did not ask for reward. The chamber fell silent. The princess closed her eyes briefly. They chose, she said, and the galaxy listened. The council chamber was full. Every seat was taken. Screens from distant worlds glowed along the walls, carrying the faces of leaders, merchants, and observers. News of the human mission had reached every corner of the galaxy. The dragon princess stood at the center. She wore her royal armor, but the wooden ornament still rested against her chest. Simple, unchanged, seen by all. Eli stood with the human delegation at the edge of the chamber. He felt smaller than ever, yet stronger than before. The council speaker rose. The test is complete, the speaker announced. Humanity acted without demand for reward. Murmurs spread. They risked everything. They gained nothing. They still chose to help. The princess raised her hand. Silence followed instantly. You called this weakness, she said. You were wrong. She stepped forward. Humanity had a choice, she continued, to protect themselves, or to protect others. Her eyes moved slowly across the chamber. They chose others. Some leaders lowered their heads. The princess turned toward Eli. Human, she said, step forward. Eli obeyed. You created a gift, she said, that reminded us of who we once were. She reached up and removed the ornament from her. Chained. The room gasped. She placed it carefully into Eli's hands. This no longer belongs to royalty alone, she said. It belongs to history. She faced the council. Effective today, she announced. Humanity is recognized as a foundational culture. Shock filled the chamber. That status is ancient. It grants voice and veto. No non-empire has ever held it. The princess did not waver. Empires rise and fall, she said. Values endure. She raised her voice. Humanity will serve as caretakers, builders, and cultural guides across the Union. Some leaders protested. They are too young. They will make mistakes. Yes, the princess agreed. They will. She looked at Eli again. But they will fix them. The chamber fell quiet. A vote was called. World after world cast their decision. The result was clear. The motion passed. Eli felt his breath leave him in a rush. The princess stepped closer to him. You did not seek power, she said quietly. That is why you can be trusted with it. She turned back to the chamber. This council is adjourned, she declared. The screens dimmed. The leaders vanished. The hall emptied. Only the princess and Eli remained. She looked at him one last time. Do not let them turn you into what they are, she said. Eli nodded. We won't, he replied. Later across the galaxy, changes began. Human envoys arrived on forgotten worlds. Not with fleets, but with tools. Not with commands, but with questions. They built shelters, repaired systems, taught and learned. And everywhere they went, they brought small things, handmade things, On the border world, children carved their own ornaments. On merchant stations, crews shared meals again. On dragon worlds, ancient crafts returned. The wooden ornament was placed in a simple glass case in the central archive, not labeled as powerful, but labeled as true. Years later, a young alien asked a guide, "Why is this important?" The guide smiled. "Because they laughed at it," he said, "until it changed everything." Far away, on a quiet human world, Eli returned home. He picked up his tools, and he began to carve again, not for kings, not for power, but for the same reason he always had, because even in a galaxy of fire and steel, a simple gift, made with care, could change an empire.